we can carry on talking. So good morning. I think this one was basically put together for Selena. Selena asked how people do with their Emma's Diary leads, etc. And I've sort of broadened it a little bit to bring in generally baby portrait schemes, anything that anybody does. There isn't just obviously Emma's Diary out there. There's actually, I don't think Charity's running anymore, is it? Anybody know? I don't think Charity's running.
No, Charity's been dead for months.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going. But obviously there are quite a few national schemes running, as well as schemes that people run individually from their own studios, etc. There are various different ways. Obviously, you can attract newborns and new parents and babies into your business. You can purchase leads from companies such as Emma's Diary. I think Click still do a certain amount, don't they? Does anybody know whether Click do or not?
They do, but it's Emma's Diary leads resold. So
Okay.
it's the same lead.
I didn't know whether Click actually did anything on Groupon or not. There's other things RMG do, like Baby Portrait Club, etc. And a lot of other people run their own similar baby schemes from their own studios. So I thought that today what would be quite good was to see and talk to people that have been doing maybe the Emma's Diary scheme, as that's been running the longest now that Cherubs isn't around. To talk to people that have done it for quite a while, how successful they find it, why does it work for them and not for other people, how much do they put into it rather than just leaving Emma's Diary to do it themselves. Do people that do everything themselves get better returns than those that leave it all to Emma's Diary, etc.? So I thought we'd just open it completely. I can talk about the four different schemes that we run in our studio, and I'm happy to do that, but I don't want it all to be about what we do today. I thought it'd be very good to listen to other people. And so if we sort of go around and talk to each individual person to find out what they do, what they don't do, and then we can maybe go back and ask the people that do things specifically how well they do, what they get, and that sort of thing. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep, it's cool.
Selena's gone on mic, Janet's still on mic, and Martin's still on mic. So if they want to ask any questions, that's okay. Yeah, okay, Martin, got it. Martin says, wife is having a confidential webinar, so has pulled rank. We all know that one, don't we? Okay, right. I'll go as it is on the actual screen to make it simple. So Judith, what do you do in your studio regarding babies, newborns, baby schemes, etc.?
The last time I'd done anything was January. And it was a totally different promotion that I'd done. 50 in October, so decided each month to do 53 different types of shoots. And in January it was 50 mini newborn baby shoots. I've got 42 registrations. 19 of them came in. And they were just basically, it was a form on the website, they filled it in, I rang them, I took a £25 booking fee, they got a 7x5 print included with it. They came in, they had a shoot, they chose the 7x5, if they didn't want to buy anything else, I managed to convert them into going into my North East Children's Portrait competition. So £10 went straight away there, and then I upgraded from 7x5 to a 10x8 for £15 to keep the £25. Out of all the ones that came in January, I took close to £4,500. The advert that I ran cost us about, I think it was about 25 quid. That was about it.
Okay.
So that was the way that I did it in January.
Okay, Guy?
We take Emma's Diary leads. We get about 70 a month. We don't get a lot. My main problem is, I mean, we use platinum, not platinum. We use Portrait Appointments to do all the letters and the calling for us. They book maybe 2 or 3 a week. The problem we've got is the buggers hardly show. We do call them. We do send them the moment we get the booking, we send them a personalized letter from us with a flyer in it. And then we text them beforehand and we call them, etc., etc. Half the time, well, most of the time we can't get through on the phone. We send them a text. It's a lot of money and we're breaking even, and that's why I haven't pulled it. Okay. We're making a little bit of money on it. The people that do come tend to spend reasonably well. They tend to want to do a 3-session thing as opposed to a single most of the time. So because of that, we've washed our face and made a little bit out of it. I was just wondering, if I promoted on Facebook for baby stuff, would I get a better return for investment than going through all this Emma's Diary palaver?
Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute if that's all right, Guy. Just one question, Guy. Do you send the letters out, or do Barrett and Co send the letters?
Barrett and Co send all the letters until we book them in, and the moment we get a booking from them, we send out a letter with a flyer with a Barrett and Co. They do a trifold thing. Yeah,
that's fine. Okay, Les, do you do anything?
Yeah, give me one second. I've just set myself up trying to sort my computer out.
All right. Do you want me to come back?
Yeah, if you could, come back to me in a sec.
Yeah. Okay, you're next up, Jane. Do you do anything with regards to baby schemes?
Not exactly. I've always been dog. In March, we started doing dances, and I did some research into dance classes. And the youngest class in one of the school, in one of the affiliated programs, dance with teddy bears. So I did a model call for a dancer around 5-year-old with a teddy bear. She came in March, spent 275 quid on a model call, and then we were closed down. But sort of 5-year-old is the youngest I want to go, and I don't want to do newborn children.
Yeah, because some of the things that we might talk about later will be relative to you in regards to marketing for those type of children. So that's going to be fine then, to be honest, Jane.
Okay, great.
Andrew, I can't remember what you do. Do you do Emma's Diary? I doubt it.
We do a little bit of Emma's Diary because Emma's Diary is run from Norwich. We get the scraps that they don't want, so we don't get many because that's Barrett and Co, isn't it? But,
yeah.
We've carried on our Cherubs promotion because although Cherubs is finished, we've carried on the program that we've done. We send out a double-sided voucher to Emma's Diary leads. On one side is the 3-shoot option, and on the other side, if they don't fancy it, doing the 3-shoot, is a family option. So they can come for a one-off family session. And twice a month, we upload a video to offer 5 free places to the Bump to Baby. And then 2 weeks later, we do the same, different video, but same offer for the Watch Me Grow. And then we just rotate those every 2 weeks. So they're on once a month, but it's every 2 weeks there's a different video on.
Yeah. And sort of numbers?
No idea. Michelle deals with all them, I'm afraid.
Okay, that's fine. I mean,
I know we get some through. I know we get them through the door, but I couldn't give you numbers.
Okay, that's fine. But obviously, it's working then. If Michelle is carrying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the fact that we've got the 2 options, because some people don't want to come 3 times. I just want to do a family one when baby's 3 or 4 months old. And there's other people which is what we really want, is the 3-shoot option.
Yeah.
But I think if you just offer them the 1 and they don't fancy a 3-shoot, you've lost them. Whereas the double-sided voucher gives them both options.
Okay. Steve, do you do anything?
Yeah, my experience is rather like Guy's, insofar as contacting the people by phone is very difficult. So we tend to go down the route of sending text initially. I've been doing it for maybe the month for quite some time, but it's only in the last sort of 6 or 7 months that it started to sort of show some sort of decent responses. And that's mainly down to a young lady who
I approached. I've known her for some time, but eventually she said yes and said she would come in and take it over. So I dare not touch any of it now because she tends to. In fact, she's actually works on the ambulances, so she's she couldn't be coming in at the moment anyway, but she could come in once or twice a week and go through all the data.
Does she do the calling for you or the photography?
Say again, sorry.
Does she do the photography or just the
the admin and the calling?
Okay.
Any letters that we send out are always in her name, so we always sign that as Lucy. They seem to respond better to dealing with a lady rather than myself, which story of my life. But she's got a very good system insofar as that they receive a text message pretty much as soon as we've got the information, or certainly within a week of us getting information from Barrett and Co, saying welcome, this is who we are. That's followed up by an email pretty much saying the same thing. She then contacts them again about a month before the baby is due and says, it's getting exciting, we'd love to hear from you when the baby's born, and so on. So there's a series of text messages and emails, and this seems to have started to work. Unfortunately, obviously what's happened recently has meant the whole thing has stalled. I have in the past tried duplicating the sort of sending out of letters that Barrett and Co offer as a deal, which actually is a pretty good deal from them. But I tried that about a year ago. It worked okay, but I wouldn't say the response was much greater or any better than texting and emailing and then contacting them by phone.
Okay. Next on the screen is Martin, but Martin's mic'd, but he has written. So I take all the leads and get Emma's diary to do all the bookings. I do fire up calls a week before sitting and then find the confirmation and text the day before. So maybe Martin, you might be an idea just to quickly send me sort of roughly numbers and of the leads that you purchase each month, and also sort of the return and that sort of thing, if that's all right. Janet, can you do the same for me, darling? I know you can't talk, so if you can just put it into a question. Selena, do you do Emma's diary?
Yep, I do Emma's diary. I did do Cherubs when that was up and running, and as far as I know, the new scheme that they're doing hasn't took off, as far as I know. I've not heard anything recently. But yeah, with the Emma's diary, I send my own letters out like I did with Cherubs. I used to get pretty much all of my bookings in through telephoning them up, and that's what I used to do. I used to just go for the telephone numbers, phone them up, and that's all I used to do. But of course now you hardly ever get any telephone numbers, just with this data protection that changed. And I've got to admit, that's how I tended to get them in. So I've had to revert to the letters. When they do respond to me on the letters, I get them booked in, and then I send them a text to tell them to confirm the date and time that we do agreed to book them in at. And I also say on the text that they have to confirm back and let me know that they can come to that time. I do tell them that on the phone. If they don't reply to me, then later that day or the next day, I send them another reminder saying, please can they confirm the date and time. If they don't get back to me that day, I just send them a text and say, I've cancelled the appointment with because you've not got back to me. That either is two things. One, they don't reply, or the other one is they reply back and say, oh, so sorry, I forgot to reply. I just find that my no-shows has drastically reduced.
Yeah.
By doing it that way. The other thing I do is the day before the due in, I send everybody a text reminder. If I haven't seen them before, if they're first timers, I always send them a text and say, please can you confirm that you're still coming? I give them a couple of hours. If they don't reply, I send another text, and I give them literally about an hour, and then I just send them a reminder and say, well, I've cancelled your shoot. Again, they'll either respond and say, so sorry, I've been out, whatever. I've got booked in. But like I say, it's really reduced my no-shows is doing that.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember who said it before, but I was very hit and miss on whether they used to turn up, but I don't particularly get that as much anymore.
No, it's probably because you got a lot more contact with them.
Yeah.
Martin's come back. I'll read Martin's before Janet's. Martin's come back. He said, I've been doing Emma's diary for 10 years, average around 275. I've presume is that what you spend per month on leads, Martin? You're saying here 10% no shows. You do, I think, you do 5 to 10 a week. Average drop from, well, I won't say what your average is because we might do that, we might not, but we're not into what people are spending and that sort of thing at the moment. So, so that seems about average, to be honest, Martin, from what you've said. Janet Young has said, yes, we do Emma's Diary. Girl comes in and does some marketing lead for me. We get the odd take up, not a massive response, but I think it just helped to keep our name around. Yep, okay, that's fine. Les, and then I'll say what we do, and then we can look at other people then. So, Les?
Yeah, what we done was, we was at Cherubs right from the very beginning, and we built up a massive database and a client base from there. And basically, it's just been rolling on from there. We came out of Cherubs when they wanted to change it all anyway, and basically we do lots and lots of recommendations and repeat businesses. We're seeing whole families coming through all the time. The best thing we've done recently is the one that Judith put up, and you've done, Alan, with the competition, and we got 77 leads in for that. So
I'll go through that one in a minute, Les.
yeah. But as I say, but generally speaking, ours has all been self-perpetuating rather than targeted adverts or things like that.
Okay, okay. Right, so it seems obviously that those that do Emma's Diary specifically are very much in the, it works for them, but only if you have a hands-on approach to it. Personally, we've been doing Emma's Diary now for about 12 years, maybe a bit longer. When we started off, it was absolutely incredible. It totally blew my head away, the quality of the leads, the amount of response, etc. But that was from where they were getting it from. Now they're not getting it from anything like such high quality areas, so the quality of the leads has dropped. Baby of the month, since that's come in, the quality of the leads have dropped because people now are after more of the winning of a prize rather than having the pictures taken, etc., etc. We've always kept Emma's Diary going because in our area it's a brand and we're known for doing it. I'll give figures and numbers in a minute, as other people have. We find, like Les, that because we've been doing it so long now, we have a complete return to circle where people come in and are asking for the same thing that they had done for their first child, second child, or whatever, and not even contacting Emma's Diary. So we've got a lot of repeat business because we've been doing it, you know, for so long. In 2019, basically Emma's Diary, Barrett & Co changed the way that their leads were running, and they started to produce far more born children than they did newborn, whereas previous to that, there was a tremendous amount of newborn and not so many born children. But 2019 was the changeover, so the figures changed. But in 2019, we purchased 309 leads of newborn and converted 33 of them, 10%. And on born, we purchased 453 leads and converted 100-ish, which is 20%. Now, we've never left any of this to Emma's Diary at all. We do it all ourselves. As soon as the data comes in, we collate it, check it through to see that there's no crossovers with any other data that's coming from any other avenues. Start building up packs, which I think some of you already talked about, letters. The letters all go out very, very, you know, standard letters, pictures on it, that sort of thing. They don't mention me apart from the top, as Steve mentioned. A female name is much, much better. They respond to that. We do have envelopes which are branded, and we do have other packs that go in as well. One thing that we find that works extremely well is a reply form that they return, because if they have to do something, there's a commitment. And once you've got a bit of commitment, any questions, £10 off, other things we do. One trick that we picked up from somebody, I can't honestly remember who it was now, but it has made a difference to our replies, and that's we send a tea bag.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah, individual tea bag. Have a cup of tea on us while you're reading this. The amount of people that actually comment on that when they come in, didn't like your tea bag, I like Earl Grey or whatever, you know, something funny. But it means that they've sat down and looked at your pack rather than just binned it, because when they've opened it, something falls out and there's just something there. So that's something that we picked up from somebody. I can't remember who it was now. It was a couple of years ago. Not our idea, it was somebody else's. But that's worked well for us. So it's just going somewhere and buying, you know, massive boxes, but they must be individually packed.
They have to be individually wrapped, Alan.
Individually wrapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or else when people open there, it's like confetti of tea leaves, and that's not quite the same effect. That into somebody's thing. So we do quite well on Emma's Diary. I think Andrew mentioned we've done 3 sessions for 12 years and never changed it. The spend over a customer coming in for us around about £500 to £600 over the 3 sessions. But they all feel that they've not been robbed rather than coming in once, etc., etc. So it's just how we do it. But we get a tremendous amount of return business because of seconds and thirds and various different things. So we slot them into the diary in different times. Something else that was mentioned earlier on.
Alan, do you ask each of the mums who come in, do they have any friends who've just had a baby?
Yeah, we send out, when they come in, we've got a referral scheme, Les. And basically every customer that comes through the studio, when they leave, they go out with a pack of what they can obviously purchase, that sort of thing, and a referral lead. The referral scheme for us works really, really well. We probably get 5 to 8 referrals each month. And we give a £25 credit to spend in the studio for the people that refer. If they refer 5, then we give them a meal at a posh hotel that we know the people of as well. That does work very, very well for us. But then we're busy enough to have Helen working full time with me as well. But also we've got another girl that some of you have met and some of you haven't, called Rachel. Rachel comes in now 1 day a week and she works at home another day a week. So she does a tremendous amount of the admin and the marketing and that sort of thing. I think we were talking about the keeping close, which is what Selena was talking about just now. You know, the process of dealing with a client isn't just send a letter and wait. It's following up with emails, warm-up emails, something's coming in the post, 10 days left, etc., etc., and so on. So there's probably about 8 or 9 processes to get a client in. But it's all personal. It all comes from us.
I think it's what you said before, which is where I found. I think it's not the amount of messages I do and keep in touch. I think it's what you touched on is it. I have to make them do something, like you fill in the form. They've got to reply to my text message, and I think that's where I find makes them come in.
I think you're right. I think that you know, you've got to have some form of commitment from them to know that they're a relatively hot customer. I think that I know certainly since the baby of the month has come in, and I'm not knocking it because I'm not, but we have had far more no spenders come through the Emma's Diary scheme than we ever did before. So
is that because they're all hunting for the big prize?
I think that, and where Emma's Diary are getting the leads for the data from, Les, you know, they're not getting it where they used to get it from 10 years ago. They're getting it from more of the people that are hunting for a chance, a freebie, that type of thing. So, no, they don't, Martin. Martin's asked me, do they pay a deposit? No, we don't take a booking deposit on any Emma's Diary scheme. We treat that as our completely free scheme all the way along the line. We have got 2 other baby schemes that we run that they all pay to come in for. So we treat the Emma's Diary as a very sort of low cost, low customer, and in the diary type of thing. We use the other schemes as the higher customers because we charge them commitment and so on. But I'll get onto those in a minute. I don't want it all to be about me. I'm just looking.
Oh, Alan, can I backtrack on one bit? You know, when you send out your tea, etc., and you've got a reply letter,
Yeah.
Do you put a stamped address envelope in that so they don't even have to put a stamp on the envelope?
Yeah, it's all prepaid.
Oh, we've got prepaid envelope.
Yeah. So the form, I'm trying to do this. I'll shut the window. Hang on a second. Bear with me. I'm trying to think who on here has seen all my packs. You've seen them all, Selena, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen them.
So basically, it's just a form that we get them to fill out. Here it says you must fill out in X amount of days, or else there's the cost of £25. Registration up until X day is free. And we always send out sort of texts and emails and things like that to people that haven't responded to say, you know, the date's coming up. So yeah, that's just so they just fill in the form. It's got some sticky back down here. Just close it, put it in the post box, and it comes back to us. And we deal with a lot that way. A lot email us, a lot Facebook message us, but we do, you know, we get a lot through that way. So there's a commitment. So the other thing that with my days at RMG, those that were in RMG and that sort of thing know that I set up the Baby Portrait Club. The Baby Portrait Club was all about paying customers coming in rather than paying other people for the leads. That was all around various different schemes that had taken place that we'd noticed from America, Australia, and various different things like that, and giving clients a chance of choosing which sessions they wanted to come in for, depending on how much they paid. Again, we still run that. We don't pay for any adverts for that at all. All we do is every sort of 3 months, we do a 50% sale. So instead of a 4 session being £99, we do it for £50. And we sort of get something in the region of 3 to 4 a month coming in on paying either the £50 or the £99. So again, that's good. We make sure that they have slightly more poses taken during the session, bigger frames, and we also add on a set of passports and things like that. Because they're paying, we make them slightly better customers. Something that I started doing in the middle of last year was running a newborn art promotion. Because I've wanted to slowly pull away from Emma's Diary. We do a lot of babies, and I don't want to do the newborn art with the 4.5 to 6 hours job. I'm not into that. It's more an hour and a half, hour and 3/4 it all, no problem at all. But what we do is every sort of 6 months we run a competition for babies to be born. All we do is promote it on Facebook. We don't pay for anything at all, but we do quite a bit of warming up. Competition for one person to win a newborn session and a large frame print, etc., all to the value of about £400, something on that line. And 10 runners up, which will receive a session and a 8x6. But of course, everybody that enters is a runner up. Now, on the last one, we had 132 people entered. We had 27 have come back and paid £30 booking fee deposit already. We photographed 6, but then we shut down. We've got another 10 to 15 that are going to pay when their baby's born, and the rest are possibly going to keep coming back into us when their baby are born. So we're getting something at around 28 to 30% return on that, and they're all paid sessions before they come in. So they're much, much better. And as we all know, or those that do it, the spend on a newborn is a lot higher than it is for a sitting baby or something like that. And again, you know, we've just got that we send out special envelopes. Quite interestingly, a few people have talked about this at various different things. They've said about the quality of the envelope and
also colour
and various different things. I think that's very much reflective on your business and the quality, or no, and possibly how much spend is your average spend? I'm in a fairly poor area. My average spend isn't huge. It's around about 200, something like that, on an average spend. So that's absolutely fine to me. So I don't go out with fantastically printed material that looks like I'm a venture studio or something like that. I specifically do it slightly toned down so that it's much more local, etc., etc. But we do send out things like this with my own pictures on, etc., special offers, so on and so on, and letters. Lots and lots of letters, lots and lots of contacts. So since we've been in lockdown, Helen has spent probably an hour a day contacting all of our clients that are due to be booked in and not booked in, just keeping them all warmed up, really. But we do, personally, we do 5 to 6 newborns a week. If they're Emma's Diary or Baby Portrait Club, they will then come in for their seconds and thirds. If they're newborn art, as part of the newborn art, we will include them in a free session, free scheme for Baby Portrait Club to keep them coming in and so on. So it just keeps the spend going and going and going. Once we've got a client, we try and keep them. That's me.
One thing about that, Alan, what you just said, if I can reiterate, if you've got a newborn come in, and obviously they spend something in the sales room, I always the baby club free of charge, and I'll say it's normally £39.
Yeah.
You're buying this, you can have it free of charge. Exactly what I say. So they've come in as a newborn, but then we show them a cherub album, as it was, because we still get them from Locksley, and that's how you say you get them enrolled. What we now do is we'll upgrade your, this session into our baby club. So we'll book you in for 6 months and then one at a year. And at a year, if you want to do a cake smash, then you can do a cake smash or just a birthday shoot if you wish. And again, they like the way you've done the work. They've already paid out something, so they really, really appreciate it when they come. Oh, that's really great. Well, yeah, thank you very much. And they love it, especially if they're saving money and they don't realise it, but they will be buying on the next session and the next session.
I think that what I was trying to get across there wasn't that these sessions work for me, more from the fact that if you run a promotion, a bit like Mark was talking about the other day, you've got to put quite a lot of planning and a lot of contact with the clients in to enable them to come in and get the name out there. So Jane, when you were talking about you only want sort of 5-year-old kids and up, you've got to be getting your name in and around all the dance schools, other maybe local Facebook pages. I know you're good at that, Judith, so you can talk about that in a minute.
We started off with the dance schools. Of course, they're all closed down at the moment as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, okay, now isn't the time for, that, but it's maybe going on in the future and things like that.
But we're also looking to do a puppy club along the same lines.
Sorry, they do...
We're also looking to adapt the Baby Portrait Club to a puppy club.
Yep. I mean, there's a classic. Yeah, God, I hadn't even thought of that one. Hey, hang on a minute.
What was that again? Can you repeat that, Jane?
No, you didn't hear that.
God, tell us again, Jane. We're doing something different.
Say it again.
Can you repeat that?
We're going to adapt the Baby Portrait Club to a puppy club. So the puppies come in as new puppies, maybe come in once or twice through the year and then come in at the end of the first year for their first grown-up shoot, which could involve a puppy cake smash.
That is just...
I already do that.
That has just gone straight to you.
Yeah, but you would do it, wouldn't you?
Sorry. I tried that a couple of years ago. I charged £95. 6 month, 12 month, 18 month, 2-year-old. 12 month they get a proper doggy cake smash. So they get the 4 shoots with an 8x6 print from each one. I've had 2 people do it. That's been it.
I've got to admit, I tried doing it and it just didn't take off.
I thought I would have done, because I thought people buying a puppy, they're going to be right into it. I even tried it at the Christmas in. If you just bought a puppy for Christmas, ideal present to go with it, but it just didn't take off.
I know, I
whatever
thought
reason.
exactly the same. I thought this is going to be brilliant, and I was so keen at doing it, and it just didn't work at all.
I think the difference on that would be is if you've done the puppy, which is a great one. The second one is the puppy and the kids. One is the puppy and the whole family, because then obviously the dog's getting older. So it's a slight twist.
I'm going to put my head around this, Jane, because I think this can work. And if it hasn't worked for other people, then we've got to learn the lesson as to why it didn't work for them, what they were doing, were they offering too much? Maybe off the top of my head, I can see this being exactly the same as the Baby Portrait Like Emma's Diary scheme, you know, puppy sort of just sitting, and then maybe at 12 months, so you've got a growth of the puppy growth.
My feeling is that it only goes as far as the first year.
Yeah, I agree. I'll put some thought to that and see if I can come up with something. I'm not saying it's going to be any better. I'll just have a look at it and see as regards to thinking about. I've got some very close links with dog groomers and dog trainers, and involving those would be very, very good, because you'd be getting at the dog world rather than trying to get through it from the photography world. So, yeah, no, that's a good idea. Right, other questions? Now that we've obviously all been talking and everything, has anybody got any questions for anybody else of other things that they do or they feel that they can learn or benefit from?
Can I just ask? We've never done Emma's Diary, so what's the general consensus across the board of those who do it? Actually worthwhile for the effort you have to put into it, and sort of with Cherubs, we found that because we covered a big area, the only ones that were making a lot of money was the lead suppliers. So how does the consensus across the board about Emma's Diary with regards to leads versus bookings versus sales? It'll be on the basis, you know, like the funnel we were talking about the other day, where the cost per lead ending up at the bottom. How does that average out for people?
Okay, Martin has come back immediately and he said, for me, Emma's Diary is a midweek studio filler. Only families can come in at weekends. And that's the same for me as well, personally. You know, the baby schemes that they don't pay to come in for are definitely fillers in midweek. Steve?
Yeah, I go along with that. There's the occasional weekend one. Yeah, but mostly during the week.
Guy? You're on mute.
We were in a weird situation 3 years ago when we shut down Hyatt Studios, and we were going from a high volume to low volume, and we were trying to keep whatever business we can. So we went for everything we could and kept whatever we could. Now, Cherubs used to turn over some money for us. I mean, we were looking at the yearly thing. You know, Cherubs were turning over 30,000, 40,000 pounds. And we thought, okay, it's a turnover. If you're starting a new business from scratch, it's a good thing to start over with. And then we had a falling out with Ray Lowe specifically, and he kicked us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, it was a personal thing, and I won't discuss it now, but if you want the nitty-gritty, give me a shout. But basically, there's a lot of NIMBYism going on at the MPA with local photographers, to me, that are running Cherubs specifically. However, going back to Emma's Diary, if I was going into it brand new today, there isn't the volume for me to do. The problem is the volume. At 70 leads, yes, even if 10% respond, that's 7 a month, and half of them don't turn up. I'm shooting about 2 a month, okay? If you look at the total I spend on Barrett & Co. and portrait appointments and what the money I get, I make a little bit of money But at the end of the day, all that effort's going to pay Barrett & Co. and portrait appointments to keep them turning over. I'm keeping some clients out of that keep on coming for families afterwards. But I'm not getting sufficient referrals afterwards. I mean, if you look at my Facebook things, the mothers love what I do, but getting them in is the biggest problem. So if I wasn't running, I wouldn't take it on now. But as it is running and it's ticking over, I'm going to leave it. That's why I asked. The baby of the month, I've won a couple of monthly ones, December and August of last year. And 3 years ago, the Hyatt Studios won the $5,000. So mothers, you're right, are attracted for the win as opposed to baby photos. But I think that's saying a lot about our clients anyway. Their mentality has changed.
Yeah.
Is there another way of getting the leads without having to sign up to Emma's diary? Because, you know, is Facebook, because I'm really, Judith, I'm astounded by the numbers of people you get through your Facebook. I get bollocks, but maybe because you have a higher density of population of people around you, or less photographers competing for the same, in the same area with similar adverts.
Okay. Right, we'll come back to that. Steve, do you find it's beneficial?
Again, very similar to what's just been said. When I weigh up what I've been spending as against the end result, it's marginal, but it is getting better now. I've got a system in place, because prior to that, I just wasn't taking any advantage of them at all. Whereas now, once we get going again, and Lucy can come back in and take up the reins of contacting these people, it works. And having seen some of the things that you do, Alan, with the posting out, for the questionnaire, and somebody else said about making sure that they respond back to you to say that they are coming in. I think there's more tweaks that we can do. One of the other reasons I keep it on is simply to keep somebody else out who is only about 3-4 miles away, and that particular studio will jump on anything that they can grab from anybody else. It happened a few years ago with Cherubs when that was going, when at the time the studio was closing down was a close friend. He offered me the Cherubs, and before we knew it, this other studio had hoovered them all up by their contact with somebody at the MPA at the time. So part of it is to try and keep that person out, but I definitely need to work a lot harder on it. And there's some great stuff come through today. Yeah,
I'm going to ask Janet to ask whether she feels it's worth doing. She is replying on the chat, so it'd just be interesting to hear what Janet has to say about it as well. And
I'll go back to Steve for a second. Steve.
Yeah.
Because we had this similar situation where we actually, because we was writing at the beginning of Cherubs, we actually had our old postcode area, which was absolutely huge. And we weren't doing it to keep anyone else out. There just wasn't anyone else in our area anyway.
Sure.
But on the basis to the amount of shoots, what you're paying out for the amount of shoots that you are booking in, would you not consider stopping it, using that money on conservative Facebook advertising to bring in the leads? Wouldn't that have a much, and sod the other photographer, because let him, purchase the 70 leads to get 4 sessions or whatever, because it wouldn't that money. Am I right in saying that a cost per lead is what, £20, £25?
That's something I was going to come on to in a minute, in actual fact, but yeah.
Yeah, so when you go back to the funnel system and the cost per lead we were talking about the other day at the other webinar, should you not step back slightly? Because we've done it with our Cherubs. When they wanted to change it all, we said, don't want anything to do with that. We'll do our own promotions. So if you step back unemotionally, and we've all done it about keeping other people out because he's just down the road. If you look at what you're actually spending out to the amount of money you're bringing in, rethink that money that you're spending with Emma's and put that into Facebook, would you get more sessions booked? And that's the thing I'm thinking about, because throughout this whole break, this is one of the things that I've actually learned big time, is about the different ways of promoting using the Facebook page and the returns you get. It's like the baby one we done, and you know, 77, incredible for the amount of money, and also for chess, for what you're putting in to what you're getting back is incredible. You know, so.
Can I just jump in here? I think you're absolutely spot on, Les, because I decided in January to try the Emma's Diary. I've done it years ago. It never worked. Got my area took off us because Barrett and Co wanted it. So in January, I was trying to get more into the studio, trying to think more what I could do. So I went back to Emma's Diary. The leads were absolutely shocking, so I thought. But going back a few years ago, I was paying something like £250, £300 a month to Emma's Diary. I took that money and put it into Facebook advertising. At the time, it wasn't lead gen advert. I think it was a traffic advert. And I got more back from the Facebook advertising than what I ever did out of Emma's Diary. Now, with the lead gen advert, I think you're hitting an audience that's close to you. You're hitting an audience where if people are interested, they are going to sign up. Now, I've seen a bigger uptake in January in the promotion that I had done in any of the other baby ones. And I think it was because people are interested, where I think with Emma's Diary, if they still do it the old way where they go around the hospitals and take all the information at a time when they're in quite a vulnerable state if they've just had a baby, and they don't know sometimes, I think, what they're signing up for. Whereas when they're home, you know, they're into a routine, they see an advert, oh yeah, we'll sign up for that. And I think, for me, I think that's why I got a better response. I'm all for
Emma's Diary is not at the hospital, that's all Cherubs.
Yeah,
county.
They used to, didn't the Bounty used to go around and collect all the information, didn't
No,
they?
that's just Bounty, not Emma's Diary.
So does Emma's Diary not get their information from Bounty? No. Okay.
No, they get it from a different source, Judith. So they're going around to the hospitals. But I think that Emma's Diary is expensive. There's no doubt about it. If you look at it, what it costs you per month that you pay to Barrett and Co. And if you do everything to Barrett and Co., then obviously you've got a straight cost, and it's dead easy to divide that by the amount of leads that you get back. And you find that, you know, each client might be costing you 35, 40, whatever pounds, which is a lot of money. And especially if, like in Guy's case, they're costing sort of 25 to 30 and then more than half don't turn up. You know, you've got 1 or 2 sales a month just to cover your costs. You can definitely make it work better by doing it yourself, but you've got to have planning and structure into the promotion that you're putting together before you can do it, which is why the Baby Portrait Club through RMG was good, because you could just tag on to that very, very quickly and it was already structured for you. It's not hard to do something like that yourself, but it's all down to the amount of contact that you're prepared to keep up with the clients, the leads, etc. But I think there's a definite sway now. I think GDPR changed it. I think a lot of trouble that went through the national newspaper news, etc., regarding Bounty and the way that leads are gathered for new babies, new mums and that sort of thing had a detrimental effect on the quality of the leads. And I think that people are starting to come back to liking a local brand. I think they like to be contacted by a local person rather than feel they've had something through the post like Reader's Digest. That's how I always put it. If you have something sent from a national company, it looks exactly the same as something that would be sent from Reader's Digest. Whereas if you send it yourself, you're going to put your own personal touch on it, whether it's quality paper, not quality paper, whatever. But they will know that it's come from a local independent business rather than a national chain. I think that Emma's Diary is a great way of supplementing coming into your business. If you get a lot of them, I think probably some people do get a lot of leads and others don't, and it's on a percentage basis all the time. So obviously the more leads you get, the more sessions you're going to get. I'm going to read something that somebody's just written here. So if anybody's got any other questions, please fire away. Okay, Janet Young. With Emma's Diary, if a parent can only come in at the weekend, i.e. Saturday, do members turn down their booking? If they can't come in during the week, sometimes it means that they are both working, and perhaps that means that they can only afford to purchase photographs. Les has got a good question. So I think what really Janet is saying is, are your weekend slots prime slots, and do you charge session fees, or do you give a little bit of leeway to parents that can only work all during the week and come in on a Saturday? Anybody want to answer that one?
Well, for me, I only do families at weekends. If they're a first timer and I've not seen them before, and it's, you know, a new little baby, a newborn or something, and mum can't drive and dad's at work, then I do allow them to come in on a Saturday. If they're a second or third timer and they're not a spender, then I won't let them. If they're a spender, I do let them. But if they're not a spender, I don't let them.
Yeah, I'll come to you, Guy. I'll just read out what Andrew just said, and then I'll come to Guy. Guy, you're on mute again. Andrew said, only if parents are going to be included, baby only, then no. So, yeah, that's fine. Guy?
We've come to the same issue like you guys, and we've come up to a nice solution. If I have a cancellation or postponement, I'm happy to slot them late minute. I won't book them on a Saturday 3 months at a time, but I say, look, I'll book you on a Friday, and if we get a cancellation on the weekend, we'll slot you in. Or I say up front, pay me the £30 booking deposit, and I'll book you in on a Saturday if you're coming with a family.
Yeah.
And then if they won't give me the £30 booking deposit, it's a waste of my time anyway. So I say, look, I'm quite happy to do baby pictures for you on the Saturday. It's got to be with a family, and we take a £30 deposit for that prime slot. If you just want to do baby on its own, I'm happy to do without deposit, but it's going to have to be weekday. And we have the deposit paid or not, and that kind of works for us.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can I just throw something in that occurred to me? Again, I've not done Emma's Diary or whatever, but obviously I'm BIPP, MPA for years and years, not part of any of them now. And for years, I was on this thing about everything had my qualifications after it. And then we decided, do you know what? Let's take the qualifications off. Then I waited for the ceiling and the roof to cave in. Nothing happened. We were 25 years with Cherubs, and wasn't built upon it, but that was a major part of our business. When we decided to stop Cherubs, we thought, that's it. Oh, the whole world's going to cave in on us again. It never. What's a considered view that are some of you in Emma's Diary and paying the money on, you will get so much to cover the cost, but not a lot afterwards? Are you still in it on the basis that if you come out of Emma's, you feel that your business will suffer drastically?
If you come out of Emma's, you're unlikely to get it back because someone else will snap up the leads. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
That's the question, isn't it? Are we? Is it? I'm talking about we, because I've done exactly the same thing with Cherubs. Are we frightened that that is going to have that much of a difference when you consider the ultimate profitability of the sessions you do with them, the fact that someone else is going to deal with them, and if you can put that money into other forms of advertising or promotions, like direct mail shots when you get an inquiry, etc., that pushes your costs up. But overall, would it do you feel that your business would substantially fall backwards because another studio nearby would be taking those leads?
I think that's going to come down to knowing how in your own mind how well you've worked the leads. If you feel you've done absolutely everything you can do with those leads to get them in, if you're not getting the numbers through the door and the sales at the back of it to make it actually worthwhile, then the competitor isn't going to either.
And this is what I mean.
Yeah, I think that the worrying about competition having purchased leads isn't quite as much as it was 5 years ago. Because 5 to 10 years ago, everybody was brought up on the fact you can only run a business if you purchase leads from somewhere. And everybody thought that they had to get on board and purchase those leads from wherever to sustain them and carry on in business. Go on, Guy.
Got to leave, guys. I'll catch you another time. Andrew, can we have a catch up? Have you got some time later on this afternoon?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's a good way to contact you?
If he contacts us on Facebook, I'll send you my mobile number.
Okay. Let me have your surname, Andrew.
Saxton.
Thank you, mate. Take care, guys. Good
Cheers.
chat. Really enjoyed it. Good useful
Cheers.
stuff.
So I think that personally, I've wanted to come out of Emma's Diary for a couple of years, but we still get a lot of response for it, and it's worth us doing. But I think now it would be a good time to leave, but we've got so many leads that we've got to deal with that now would be a good time to go. But I think that if you are thinking of going and leaving Emma's Diary, I would certainly have something in place before you do. I would, you know, whatever the promotion happens to be, if it's one you want to run yourself, whether that be newborn, whether that be puppy club, whatever. I think that before you drop anything from anybody, you want to have something that is more than compensating and covering it. Hence why we've set up the other two to more than cover the amount of leads that we've got, sessions that we want to cover in a week. So that if we do drop Emma's Diary, we know we've got enough coming in from the other promotions. But I do think that too many people think that just buying Emma's Diary leads and letting Barrett and Co run it. I mean, I don't even know, what do they charge to make a booking and send it all out? Does anybody, Steve, do you know?
What, the vouchers, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked them in about January, February time, because out of December and January, I didn't get any return whatsoever from my letters. But in hindsight, it might have been down to the time of the year. And I think for them to send the vouchers out, it was £1.57.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Plus the lead that you buy as well.
And how much do the leads cost?
Right. Just under £3, including VAT. Right, isn't it, if I remember rightly?
Yeah.
I don't deal with it. I just, Helen and Rachel deal with all that, but I think that's what the costings are. Yeah, Martin says, yeah. So again, you know, if you're getting a lot of people coming in through the doors, then no, I'm fine. Then obviously the cost per client goes down. If you're spending, you know, I think as Guy was sort of saying just now, if you're sort of spending 70 plus paying for them to do everything on top, so he's probably paying £100 plus, and he's getting a couple of clients in through the door, and then, you know, you're looking at £50 before they spend any money. And that's without time, et cetera, added into the whole situation. And I think, as Andrew said earlier on, also, you know, what are you offering them? Are you offering them just a 1 session or a 3 session? You know, the cost implications of that is all something else you need to take on board. But I do think that things and marketing is definitely changing to enable you to be able to do far more yourself. It does mean that you need to know a lot more, and learning from the likes of Mark and other people. You know, Judith is a great one. Judith gets so much return on her adverts and coming into her studio. Is that you can all learn from Judith and what she does and implement it into your business in a way that it will work for you. You don't have to copy it. It's like what Mark was doing. You don't have to do a direct copy. You just have a look at it and alter it. I learned something from Mark the other day, was that when you send out an offer, a lead gen ad, don't just send it out as an offer and a free and an upgraded print. And when somebody replies to it, then say, if you'd like to go further, contact us, a bit like his funnel, and say, we'll give you a £25 voucher to spend. So don't put that at the beginning. And that's just another incentive to get more people committed. And that has definitely worked for me, what I'll talk about tomorrow in regards to the supporting the NHS. That's what I've done for that. And that has really, really worked. So sometimes it's sort of catching people at different levels, but it means that you've got to be switched on to do it, or you've got to, like in Steve's case, have Lucy or somebody like that. Now I've got Helen and Rachel. So it's easy for me to say something and then somebody else has to go and do it. If you're bad, it's not quite so easy to do, is it?
No.
Questions, guys, to anybody else?
I'll be quite interested to know, Alan, how many of you have price lists that are specific to the baby of the month. Are they sort of packages that you offer specifically to them, so you can say, look, this is, you know, we only offer this to people like yourselves that are coming on this offer, or do you just strictly stick to your standard prices?
I just stick to standard prices.
Okay.
We have a different one because we want to try and create people coming back 3 times. So we would sell a package the first time that covers all 3 shoots. Which, if that's a family portrait session, that wouldn't be on the portrait list.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different price list.
Yeah.
So the basic price list all the way through, but then you can then offer that as incentives, deals, or whatever to get them back.
Yeah. Okay. Selena, I've seen your question. I'll bring it up in a minute. Martin has gone a baby price list for him. Janet, if you want to answer that one when you come on in a minute, darling, that'd be great. I think it's good to have different price lists, because I think what you're doing is you're categorizing the type of sessions that you're doing, Steve. And then,
yeah, we do. Yeah.
Like Andrew said, you know, I think it's really, really good to hook them in on 3. You've got commitment, but also they're going to come back and they know what they're spending, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think that, you know, those type of things are good, but then turning that on its head, which is what Andrew said at the very, very beginning, you know, not everybody wants to come in for 3, but give them the chance for just a one-off. Quite often, I don't know about Andrew, but we find that when people don't want to do a 3 because they're scared of getting the high sales, when they come in for the first one and they realize they don't get the high sales, they ask if they can come in again anyway. So it's just how, you know, we all are, isn't it? We're personal, lovable, round people. Short-haired, but, you know.
Or no hair.
I'm catching you up, Andrew. I'm catching you up.
The only problem, I know we're diverting a little bit, but the only problem with having different price lists is you're leaving yourself open to, if you work it right, when they come in as a baby to start with, then maybe you do the baby with the children as another session, or even the baby as a family as another session. If you've offered a discounted price for the baby pictures, and we deal 10x8 and 8x6 packs, we do lots of them, you leave yourself open when you do the family portrait, because then you say it's X amount of, you say, yeah, but for the baby, we only done, you know, that was like £10 cheaper for our baby pictures. And you're instantly on a back foot as far as the sales are concerned. Whereas if you've got a constant price list, but offer discounts or whatever in the sales room, you're keeping your person. And
I think it also comes down to who's doing the selling, Les. You know, and the fact of knowing what your product and your prices are and how you sell and what you want to sell, to be perfectly honest. And I think that for me personally, it works having different price lists for different types of schemes. But the one thing being that if you've got a cheaper price list, now all my prints are the same in irrespective of wherever you come and whatever you do. I think like Andrew, it's just different packages.
It's not a cheaper price list, it's different products.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, just the way it's packaged up makes it perhaps look cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. So if we do like a digital package of 25 digitals over the 3 sessions, for example. You're not going to get any crossover then. So therefore, no one's going to say, oh, it was cheaper on the baby one. So because they're not the same products. The print prices are exactly the same on our price list, whether it's a baby one or a portrait. So then you're getting over that problem straight away. But by selling a package of digitals up front, for example, they've already bought 30 digitals, 40 digitals over the 3 shoots, whatever. They've got to come back the second and third times because they've already spent their money.
Yeah, I think that's something. Janet, no, Martin said, my baby was not discounted, it's just different products offering, so I think that's an agreement. Janet Young has said she agrees. No, one price list for everything, but when I go back, I need to create a different price list for family shoots. And then she said, yeah, I agree with Les. Janet, you don't know him. And she said, yes, Les agreed. I can see that can cause a problem. So, yeah, I think so. But I think like Steve and Andy just said, I think that as long as you keep your base prices the same and just have different products or different packs or whatever you want to sell for that particular type of session or session, I think then you don't have a comeback. Going back to Selena, Selena has asked, would Judith run a Facebook advert workshop?
Oh, let's put you on this.
You can smile, Judith. We can see you.
Well, this is a bit of a difficult one because obviously I'm dedicated to the NHS promotion and helping as many of our members that have joined up with that. So at the moment, I am prioritising doing one-to-one Facebook adverts with them. And that's purely because, you know, they've came on board, they've committed, they paid the £20. And at the moment, I don't want to swerve away from that.
But later on, potentially, when we're out of all this and we've finished our fundraising, that could be a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
it could be a possibility, but you know, and I do want to help people as much as I can, but at the moment, I have to give the people who've signed up to help us all fundraise and say, you two lose your hair. I have to give them priority. Dave, I don't know what you're laughing at. You've got nice head of hair as well.
yeah, but Steve didn't join in, did he?
No, I kept very quiet.
He backed out of that extremely quickly. I think that on that, Selena, I'm just going to say something. We don't know where we're going to go with this group when all this is over. We set this group up to help everybody during this period. It's been very successful, what we're doing, helping people, and I'm sure we won't disband it in any way at all, and I'm sure we will carry it on in a different level than what we're doing now, because obviously when we all go back, we're going to be extremely busy. But I think now is the time. Selena, the only thing I will say to you, I don't know, did you watch Mark's workshop the other day? Ah, Jane.
Say hello.
Selena, did you watch Mark's workshop the other day? Because that's on recorded and you need to go and have a look at that to work out what happens behind putting an advert together. Just running Facebook adverts isn't the be all and end all, to be honest. You've got to have a definite structure behind it that you fully understand. And I'm not knocking, but Barrett and Co have done it all for you in the past. You've got to learn a little bit about behind adverts and what goes on before you can even run an advert. And I think that's where a lot of people sort of are let down, that they run an advert, they get response, and nowadays they don't even know how to deal with clients when they're talking to them and various different things. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying that I think you need to put other things in place and then look at the Facebook advert first. Right, any other questions? Because all I can see here is Janet saying, yes, Les, I agree. And that's not the question I want to have on my thing, if that's possible. Any more questions? Martin?
I think Jane needs to move our camera down a little bit so we can see that gorgeous dog. There he is.
Alan, can I ask a question about lead ads? It's not specifically about what we've been talking about, but Judith may be able to answer this if it's okay. Is it possible to set up a lead ad which, instead of including just a still picture, includes a slideshow or video?
Yeah, you know where you choose your single image, to the left of there's a carousel.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose that one, and I think you can have 5 or 6 images. But what happens is when your lead advert appears, it'll have the 6 images, and they can literally just click on a little arrow at the side so that they can go through the images.
Okay.
You would need to check the size of the image, because I think they have to be more sort of like a rectangle rather than a square.
Yeah, sure.
Check the size of that.
Yeah, I was hoping to
You can set a video going. You can set a video going as well, because I've just done that with a slideshow video. I put it in the group the other day that it's got about 10 images on. It's about 42, 43 seconds. And it's for the NHS promotion. Now, just to give you an idea, till I find it.
Why are you doing that? Okay, Martin, got that.
Right, so I set this going on the 2nd of May. It's had 826 through plays, and it's cost us £1.45. And I've actually got somebody to ring this afternoon to book them in. So that's an absolute, I mean, that is just about getting the brand out there. I've set it going for 7 days, £1 a day. So even if I don't get any more and it costs us £7, I'll have had 1 booking from it. So
And
that
is that linked to a lead gen ad?
No, yeah, I've done it as a video ad through Ads Manager.
Right. Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll talk a bit more about that tomorrow, Steve.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
Because we're going to sort of go into the delving more into the behind the lead gen thing tomorrow, if possible. So, but I think that the consensus of what's come out of today is that to make any Emma's Diary leads, or any leads that you get at all, work for not just baby schemes, any schemes really, I think you've got to be prepared to have a lot of contact with the client, warm them up. I think that what's the old say, Andrew? Is it 5 to 7 times a client's got to see you before they start trusting you?
That's what we've heard, 7, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's 3 to 5, to be honest. And but I think if they keep seeing you, then it's even stronger. But I think that, I mean, your Facebook page is the greatest advert that you can have, because it's without doubt the cheapest way of getting people to look at your work. And I think that who was talking about branding the other day? Amanda was talking about branding and making sure that when you put images up onto your site, and I thought it was very relative, I hadn't thought about it specifically, but I thought it was very relative. Try and keep it all into one color theme. Whether that's your logo, your branding, your whatever, but keep that as a standard thing within your posting of pictures, posting of soft posts or whatever. I think that's very good, because I think that's part, or even a dog's head, of course, Jane.
Sorry.
No. I know quite a lot. I know quite a lot of people that their dog are the main focus of their business. They're known more by their dog than they are by the people behind it, and people do definitely take to the softer approach. The harder hit, those days are gone, and I think that people are now starting to respond to the soft approach, but a lot more of it. And does Emma's Diary pay? I'm going to leave that for everybody to decide. To be perfectly honest.
Can I just ask Alan, does any of the members that are on here now, are you all part of sort of, up here we have parent networks? So we've got South Tyneside Parent Network, Gateshead Parent Network, North Shields Parent Network, where some of these groups have got like 10, 15,000 people. Are anybody part of them where you actively post an offer into them?
No.
No.
No. I mean, as I say, I mean, I'm probably in about 20, 25 different ones up here. A lot of them are sales groups as well. So, like, if I've got a special offer on, like with the Pet Portrait Awards, I used to post in, you know, that we're raising funds for the guide dogs, free shoot, £10. I used to put a post on my page, copy the link, and include that link so they had to go to my Facebook page to look. I did pick quite a few bookings up from that, but also that's brilliant for babies, because a lot of people that go into these parent networks, a lot of them are new mums and they're looking for information, so it might be worth you checking them out. Some of them have quite strict rules, so, you know, don't think that, you know, you're going to get an easy ride of it. You know, some of them will say you can only do a business post on a Monday or a Tuesday at 8 o'clock. But again, you know, it's free advertising. It's about getting your name out there. So if you pick 1 or 2 bookings up and it took you half an hour to post into these groups, brilliant. What I will say is if you do join a load, don't cut and paste the same text into everyone, because Facebook will watch you, and if they think you're spamming, they'll ban you. So 5 or 6, leave it half an hour, go back and do a few more. But
I mean,
it could be...
That's great advice, Judith. Yeah. Does anybody do passports? Because I advertise passports in those sale or wants, and they always bring in fresh clients for me. I don't necessarily pick up too many specific clients as you do, Judith, but then, you know, different ways, talking to different people and so on. But I'd always pick up passports, and those passports generate into proper clients afterwards. So it's just finding different things to advertise in those sites. I know those sale want sites, they're the sort of places that people will put, I'm looking for a photographer, and everybody listed apart from you comes up. So, you know, that's something else. But Martin Wise, I do passports, especially with the new digital. Yeah, I mean, it's a great way of getting new clients into the studio is passports, without a doubt. And the new digital software that you can get from Image.
The Image, isn't it?
Image Cam or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's spot on, absolutely spot on. You're not even involved in printing anything. It's so quick and easy. Yeah,
I don't know who it was. It was somebody part of RMG that were doing, if somebody came in for a passport photograph, they were giving them a free family portrait session. Was that you? With an 8x6 print. Was that you, was it? I knew somebody was doing it. And Les done a brilliant one where he had, I think it was a Monday morning where we didn't have anything booked in, and he done free baby passport shoots for them on the Monday morning. Yeah. So, you know, if you've got a studio, passports, and certainly digital is a great way of attracting new clients coming in, just on different ways of looking at it. I think that you know, not everybody, when you advertise, not everybody wants a baby shoot. Not everybody wants a 5-year-old daughter dancing or a puppy shoot. Not everybody wants a family. Not everybody wants a cake. But you've got to show all of your wares. And I think that's what your Facebook page can be for. You put up different posts all the time. You know, we try very, very hard. When we're working in the studio, and we do 4 sessions a day, because I've done something at the moment. I was talking to other people before. We've got 86 sessions booked that we've got to put into our diary when we reopen. And that's just the ones that we've cancelled, along with new ones. So we've had to work out a new structure for the diary to make sure that we can, cope with all the ones that we've not done, and obviously new ones coming in, etc., etc. So we've worked out new timings to enable us to fit everything in as much as possible. So when we go back, assuming clients say yes, and we post 1 picture from every session on the Facebook page, and they then share that to their friends and relatives and so on.
And when they like these pages, then we just invite them, when their friends and relatives like the picture, we just invite them to like our page. And then we've got an audience figure that we can obviously deal with. I'm sure we all know that and deal with that, but it's just contacting these people, getting hold of them, being friendly, and not selling to them straight away. I don't know. There's quite a few of you here that are doing the NHS. Andrew, you are, aren't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stephen, you are.
Yeah.
Martin, you are. Judith and I are. I don't think Janet and Selena are. I have found a tremendous increase in people liking my page and following me since I've started advertising. Have you all found that?
Yeah. Can I just say as well, you know, when you've done your lead gen ad, and you've got, like on mine at the moment, I've got 52 people that have actually liked it. Do you know you can, although they've liked that advert, do you know you can click on them and it'll bring up a like a drop down menu, and you can actually invite them people to like your page. If you're not doing that, you need to be doing it, because that is a way of building up your likes on your page, and those people are going to see what you post first because they're the last ones to like your page. I've got Alan came up with an idea at the beginning of lockdown, which was a 21-day quiz, where each day we posted a different question. I've got 4 or 5 people that came on board on the first question and have actually stayed with us all the way through, and every time I post something, them same 4 people are liking everything that I do. So it's really important that we invite them people to like our page and keep interacting with them, because they're the ones that's going to buy from us later on down the line.
Yeah, it's all a case of, I mean, I think we're coming back around, going round in circles. We always do that. But I think, I think now is the time really to be, we've done our, I mean, we personally haven't marketed at all since we closed. They didn't think it was morally right. I've said that to lots of people. Other people have got different opinions. That's absolutely fine. But personally, as a business, we haven't marketed at all apart from the NHS. But that doesn't mean to say that we can't be in contact with our clients and running different things. I mean, your painting one worked well, Judith, the competition worked well, and just other little soft posts that we all keep doing. I keep finding these things on Facebook about, you know, Steve seems to follow me like a hound at the moment, of all the ones about songs and different things like that. It's just different ways of keeping people remembering you, really, and keeping your page going. Because I think one of the hardest things to do would be to regenerate your business from nothing if you haven't kept your Facebook page rolling over in this period of time. Any other questions from anybody? I think what's come out of today then is that maybe people want a bit more help on lead gen ads, Judith. So maybe we can do something in a couple of weeks after the NHS stuff is all up and running and safe. We can look at doing something on that lines. And I think if anybody wants to know more information, or we want to do a more specific workshop on setting up a promotion other than doing an ED or something, then, you know, I'm perfectly willing to do that. I just didn't want to do that today. I just wanted other people to have input today. If anybody does want any help, I'm sure all they've got to do is ask. I'm sure anybody will be willing to help and offer. So if anybody said anything on here today and other people want to ask them questions, I'm sure cross lines and purpose and that sort of thing, no problem. But if nobody else has got any other questions, and I think there's a dog that needs walking, I can see up in the top corner. Can't see Selena, Martin, Janet. Been great to have you all, and I think it's been good. I've enjoyed it, to be perfectly honest. I hope you've all benefited from it.
Yeah, I think it's just been more nice and relaxed and nice chat, hasn't it?
Yeah, lots of good ideas come out of that. I've certainly got a whole sheet of paper with ideas.
Oh dear, have you, Steve?
Yeah.
I do think as well, though, that when we do come out of this, there's going to be a lot more newborn babies around.
I
Could be a
just-
bit of a baby boom later on.
Well, I haven't mentioned it today, I will now, but I honestly think before Christmas and after Christmas, there is going to be a huge baby boom. And I think that now is the time to get promotions ready and everything in place to be ready for that. And if anybody does, you know, I mean, would you like a specific workshop on setting up promotions for individual baby schemes?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, if you do, then I'll put one together. It'll take me a while because I've got everything down at work, so I need to get it all sorted. But I'll put one together and put a date up because I do think that even like Jane would benefit from it, because you could take your puppy idea. Though I'm going to work on that puppy idea, Jane, because I think that can work. I can see that working. If we can get babies pooping everywhere, I'm sure we can get puppies pooping everywhere as well. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Alan, the one that I done, the cake lasted literally 3 to 4 minutes. It
Yeah, I
was
wouldn't do a
gone
cake.
so quick, and it was the full cake. It was not cleaning up because the dog licked it all up.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't do the cake. But that's my idea. But I mean, if people want, you know, to see how to set up a promotion and what goes into it just from our studio, and it's not the be all and end all. Everybody does it differently, and everybody does it better. It's just tips from different people, really. I'll do that. I'll put that on the agenda to come up with in a couple of weeks' time. Is that okay for everybody?
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got
great.
some artwork.
Mhm.
I've got some artwork already ready. I can send you a copy of that. It's just the poster that I used.
Yeah. If by the way, if anybody wants what we send out, just message me. I can't do it immediately. We'll do it next time we go down to work. But if people do want a complete pack of what we send out, I'm more than willing to send it across to people. You can just adapt it. It doesn't have to go out as Emma's Diary or whatever. It can go out as anything. But it's just tips. It's not, you know, I'm never going to say everything's all our ideas. We just take ideas from different people and put it into other things and round it up to make a package that works for us. You know, there isn't much out there that's completely new, to be perfectly honest. It's all been redone before. It's just different ways of doing it. But Janet, you must try and come on to talk, darling. I'd love to talk to you one day.
I think with your pack, Alan, I mean, that would be really, really interesting for me to see, because I always have problems, not just wording things, but knowing if what you're doing is right. But when you know somebody's already doing it and they're using something and it's working, then that proves, you know, that it does work.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
But I always...
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
I can do that. That's not a problem. But, you know, it won't be for everybody. It'll just be for those that are specifically doing something in regards to, I'll say a scheme, whether that's a puppy scheme, baby scheme, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it can be utilising into that. But yeah, that's no problem at all. Absolutely no problem at all. So is everybody happy to go and sit in the sun?
I've got no son.
I've got to go in the sun. I want my hair to grow. Andrew and
Well,
I,
go in the sun to get rid of that white line.
yeah, well, Andrew and I are going out to stand directly in the sun, aren't we, Andrew?
No, I'm not worried about it. Hair's overrated, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, mate. I completely agree with you. And
I'm not stressing about when the hairdressers are going back to work.
I'm not either. I'm just looking at some of the figures that are coming in on the Astro Elf thing, and I'm thinking maybe I should have put it up above 15,000, gone a bit higher than that. But I've got a few black balls I'm going to throw in for the rules to make sure it doesn't quite get to 15,000. You're not included, Judith, is one. That's a definite. That'll knock the numbers back a bit. And Mark Swinford said to me the other day that it was his goal to do it all on his own. So I said, unfortunately, anybody who's done a workshop doesn't count either. So I'm cutting the numbers down. So if Andrew starts doing well, that's Andrew's numbers out as well. So I reckon I can keep this fairly low. If I ask you to do a workshop, you'll know that means that your numbers are good, and I don't want your numbers added. So right then, lady. Did somebody have a question? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say you're running scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've noticed Les is keeping quiet as well.
Yeah. I don't run from much, but I must admit I'm running a bit on this one. Yeah, I must admit I am running a bit on this one. But see, I'm not worried about the hair. The hair doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. It's the size of the nose going to the baldness. It worries me. That's just me personally. Right, ladies and gents, it's been so I'm going to stop it here. I hope you've all enjoyed it.
Yes, excellent stuff. Gavin.
Yeah, brilliant.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody for coming on, and I look forward to speaking to you